She's teething really bad, so just gave her baby. Yeah, gotta find out. How many she had? She has two, so
Lori, did you bring snacks for all of us? Well, she always brought snacks for everyone here, so I thought maybe we would all get to have snacks.
Yeah, it's bad. Welcome everyone to our 2019 Baccalaureate Service. We have a couple of guest speakers and several personal reflections tonight, along with some music performed by the Dickens Choir and the seniors in chorus. I hope you all enjoy. I'd like to now invite Holden Kennedy up for invocation.
Please bow. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us all here together this evening. As we spend these last few moments together before graduation, I ask that we would cherish each and every second. Thank you for all of the ways you have blessed us, and I ask that you would help us to not take those blessings for granted. As we celebrate our achievements and relive memories we have made together, we glorify you for getting us to this point. We ask that you continue to guide us through the next chapters of our lives and help us to be strong and courageous in our future endeavors. In your holy name we pray. Amen. At this time, I would invite Brett Rudy to come share a personal reflection with me.
We'd like to start by saying thank you.
To all our teachers, family, and friends.
We had some fun and got smarter too.
It's been a long ride, and this is where it ends.
On August 27th, 4 years ago,
We began our journey in this place,
we heard time flies, but we did not know.
that the years would pass at such a rapid pace.
From opening up mysterious doors,
To lifelong locker key scars,
to eating pizza like starving boars,
and hiding Mrs. Getty's jars.
high school has been an amazing 4 years.
But we've passed the point of no return.
We graduate soon. Mom, plug your ears.
Life is about to take a U-turn.
Fellow students, listen up.
We're going to miss the times we've had.
And although this seems like a big breakup,
The memories we've made make it a little less sad.
we will all do well in years to come.
We hope you end up where you feel led.
We did it, guys. We're not too dumb.
Good luck, my friends. Let's get this bread.
I'd like to invite Luna Alexander up for a personal reflection.
I know, it's the short people thing every time. Good evening, parents, faculty, and the class of 2019. It is crazy to believe that the week has arrived, but here we are. On behalf of the entire class, I want to thank the faculty for being the passionate, supportive, and encouraging people they are, because that drive has certainly infected our class over the past 4 years. I also want to thank the parents and family members. Class of 2019, your love from your family and the support you've received has been the groundwork of our success and will continue to be there for the rest of our lives. I am truly honored to be speaking on behalf of such an amazing class. I know that the teachers and parents, under some special code where they're obligated to say we're going to go places, but when I say this, I mean it. I see greatness in each one of you. I truly believe this. When writing this speech, I had a very hard time summing up the class of 2019. It's just so much to cram into something so small and meaningful. There are no words to describe who my classmates are and where they will go. The talent that our class has is truly remarkable, artistically, academically, athletically, and musically. When I think of our class, I think of middle school dances, Friday night football games spent on the hill, homecoming fun, and finally, all that procrastination that has occurred this past year and previous years. I know some of us got some senioritis pretty early on in life, but here we are, we've made it, so congratulations. As I stand in front of you tonight, there are quite a few emotions going through my mind. That sentence can explain my senior year in a whole. Quite a few emotions. One emotion that has consistently stood out was gratitude. There have been so many different things to be thankful for, between experiences, people met, people who got to join our class that we will always remember. Another emotion that stood out to me was excitement. I'm not only excited to see where this next chapter in life takes me, but I'm excited to see where this next chapter takes each and every one of you. In closing, I want to share some lessons I've learned over the past 4 years being in a class with you, and I hope this will help all of us moving forward. Spend your time wisely. You only have so much of it. Make a plan and be willing to adjust. Be willing to delegate. Take time for yourself. You can only help yourself before you help others. Always listen and never interrupt when someone is speaking. You never know what you could learn. Support those around you. You may not know they're supporting you, but they will always be there. Finally, it only takes one person to tear someone down, and it only takes one person to build someone up. It only takes one person to stand up for somebody else, and you make that decision in everything you do. So please, as we come to a close, class of 2019, as we prepare to graduate, think of the memories, hold on to them, never forget those times spent with friends. As you move on though, remember, make new friends, make new relationships, but always hold on to where you came from, your alma mater. Here I am again. I'd like to call Ellie Macias up for us to hear a reading from her.
I will be reading from Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 through 5. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Your attitude should be the same as that of Christ Jesus. I will now invite Ethan Heckman up for another reading.
This is an excerpt from Psalm chapter 4. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it will cost all you have, get understanding. Sorry. I would like to invite the... Oh my goodness. This is a mess. Somebody's coming. The Dickens Choir to the stage. They will be singing Irish Blessing by Kevin Pope.
I'd now like to invite up our guest speakers, Mr. Ronald Hagee and following Mr. Brett Kennedy.
I'd like to begin by congratulating the class of 2019. 12 plus years, and all you need to do now is go through the formality of receiving your diploma. So congratulations, and we want to assure you of our hopes and prayers as you guys step out into your next career path, whatever that's going to be. I've taken part in a number of baccalaureates, and each one of them have been very special over several different reasons. I'm going to have to lift this up. I realize it's down at Luna's height. They've been special because I had some of those kids either through coaching baseball or soccer, or I had them in my youth group, but I knew kids from each of those classes. What I need to tell you, this is not exaggerating because I'm up here, but by far, the class of 2019 from Wellsboro was the most special to me. For a number of reasons. Obviously, number one, my daughter Paige is graduating with this class. She's about to make us empty nesters, okay? So we're preparing for that. But as I look out, I feel like I know almost this entire class. And it's been really neat to get to know them. I look out and I see a few names. I'm not sure if everyone's here because I wrote down some names so I wouldn't forget, but I look out and I see Cabry. Cabry, we've known the Carsoners for years, even before we moved to Wellsboro. We've been on vacation with them. Cabry went to Disney World with us a few years ago, and just a very special family to us. Some of you have been to our house for parties and sleepovers. Sophie and Heidi and Ariana. I can tell you some stories about Ariana, about some of the movies she likes to watch, and her and Paige like to drink this terrible smelling tea. But they've been there. Some of you I've coached in ways. I had Holden and Olivia. I don't know if Corinthia's here or not. I have a great story that I could share with you about Corinthia going on a scoring tear. And one of her last games, I think she scored 4 goals because I moved her from defense up to offense, and she was mad. Her mom gave me permission, and Corinthia said, I don't want to play it. I said, you score 3 goals and I'll move you back. And then she scored a 4th on top of that. So I teased her about that every time I see her. I've watched many of you from middle school on up in your productions, in choir, in Dickens, in band. You probably didn't know it. Maybe you heard my voice yelling on the sidelines, but I've watched many of you playing football or volleyball or basketball or soccer, baseball, and softball. I'm very impressed with the talent in this class. You guys are awesome. I think Luna said that, academically and athletically and so many other ways. But what makes this class so special for me is that I've been subbing in the school district for the last couple of years, and probably all of you I've had at some point, whether it was in a shop class or an English class or science or something, maybe gym. And some of you might just now be realizing, wait a minute, Mr. Hagee from the classroom, is Pastor Hagee up here tonight? That's the guy who walked across the commons and made me put my phone away during lunch. One of you might be sitting here and thinking, that's the guy who chased me down to the Java Hive when I signed out at the beginning of class and didn't come back. And he found me down there talking to my friends and made me go back to the room. I don't remember your name. I know it was a girl, but I don't remember who that was. But I can tell you, parents, this is a very special class. I tell every class that I've taught. When I went to the middle school last year, I taught the 8th graders who moved up to 9th grade. I was in a little bit longer term for them. And I said, guys, I want you to know, I've been a youth pastor for 30 years, and I love working with young people. And I really love these kids, and these kids are very special kids. I don't think just the school's not going to miss them, but I think our community is going to miss you guys as you move on. And I know most of you are probably excited or ready to step out, whether it's going to be in college or a career or maybe the military. Most of you are ready to step out of that next stage of your life, but I know a few of you have told me that you're not that excited about what the future holds. I'm not going to say this, but I don't want to. This is not to embarrass anyone, but this is serious. At least one of you have told me that I wish we had a 13th year. I'm not ready to graduate. And I've talked to several of those people, and I told them as I sat with them, I was in for Mr. Sensnick last week, and I was talking to several of these kids, and I said, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit apprehensive in the future, not being sure of the unknown. That's a natural fear. And I wish I could sit down with each of you tonight and just take you over here and look you in the eye and tell you this is what your future is going to be in the next 5, 10, 25 years. That you're going to be a doctor, that you're going to be a lawyer, that you're going to find a cure for cancer, that you're going to be a teacher. And young lady, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom who raises 3 kids and impacts our community through the kids. I can't do that. No one could, and do it accurately. But I want to share with you for the rest of our time about one who can tell you, one who knows you, and he invites you to know him. This is God writing to us. He says, I know the plans that I have for you, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and you will find me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with your whole heart. I want you to know Jesus Christ already came to search for you. Jesus Christ came to seek you, and he's waiting for you to find him. But he writes in another place to Joshua about the word of God. And I want you to listen to what he says. He says, do not depart from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may have good success wherever you go. This book shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night. And be careful to do everything that it says, and then your way will be prosperous, and you will have good success. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the biggest problem in America today is that we've kind of lost what real prosperity and real success is. We have a very warped definition of prosperity and success. The world tells us that it depends on the size of your paycheck. It depends on what size home you have. It depends on what college you apply to and what college you get into. If you sign a Mike Trout type contract or a Bryce Harper type contract and have all these millions of dollars, you're successful. But somewhere along the line, being a teacher, being a law enforcement officer, going to the military, or being a stay-at-home mom has lost its appeal. And it's no longer considered successful. And I want to tell you that is wrong. That is not God's definition of success. I want to read what a pastor, Tim Keller, wrote about this. He's talking about success. He says, more than any other idol, personal success and achievement lead to a sense that we ourselves are God, that our security and our value rests in our own wisdom, our own strength, and our own performance. And then he says this, to be the very best at what you do, to be at the top of the heap, means no one is like you, that you are supreme. And he talks about that being a very dangerous definition of success. Being on the top, being the very best, is a definition of success. But it's not God's definition of success. I want to share a story with you. This is a true story. I didn't do PowerPoint. I probably should have. I do it every time I preach, but I just didn't even think about it for tonight. But I want to tell you a story about a girl who was in the very first baccalaureate that I did back a long time ago, 1992. It was the very first graduating class that I worked with as a youth pastor. And this young lady's name was Gretchen. This was up in Corning, New York, when I was a youth pastor. And Gretchen had come to our youth group several times. Her best friend was part of our youth group, and she let us be known. Maybe 2 or 3 times she came. And she let me know, I want nothing to do with God. I want nothing to do with the Bible. I want nothing to do with religion or Jesus. But she came out. She was a nice girl. She was the first girl inducted into the Corning Sports Hall of Fame for both softball and soccer. So I got to know Gretchen pretty well. I'd go to her games, and I tease with her. I have a hard time thinking that I tease a lot. But I was teasing with Gretchen, and I lost track of her. She was at the Baccalaureate in 1992. And when she graduated, I didn't see her a whole lot anymore. I'd see her around town when she'd come home for Christmas or over the summer. But for 9 years, I didn't even think about her or hear her name until September 14th or 15th of 2001. You can think about what happened a few days before that. September 11th was a tragedy in New York City and across our country with a terrorist attack. But the Corning Leader did an article about local people and their stories about 9/11, and Gretchen's name was the first one in the article. And I read it because I had no idea where Gretchen was. She was working now as a human resource manager in a large company in the north tower of the Twin Towers. And the article said, I tried to Google it, I tried to find it in the archives, I even wrote to Gretchen, I'll probably get an email tonight telling me everything. But I'm sure I've got some of the exact details wrong, but the story is correct, okay? I'm not trying to lie to you. But she told a story about walking to work through Manhattan, and she got almost to work, and she realized she'd forgotten some papers she was going to need for that day. And she had that fight in her mind, should I go back and be late for work and get the papers I'm going to need, or should I go to work and just get them tomorrow? Well, being safe was won out, so she made the trip back to her apartment, called her boss and said, I'm probably going to be at least 45 minutes late, maybe an hour, and she picked the papers up and she walked back. She was about a block away when at 8:46, I think it was 8:46 in the morning, that first plane hit the North Tower where she would have been in if she'd been on time. In the article, the paper, Gretchen said something like this: I thank God that I was late. Gretchen had told me she had no concern about God. It was just a thing to say at that point. So I want to ask you, and I know Gretchen talked about even that short of time, only 4 or 5 days, that she was already going through some survivor remorse, that why did I get out? Why didn't I make it to work? And all my coworkers died. I think she was on this is where I might be wrong, but like the 89th floor is where her office was, so just below where the plane hit. She lost most of her friends. But I want to ask you tonight, in the world's definition of success, was Gretchen more successful? Was Gretchen more prosperous? I'm not asking another way. Did God love Gretchen more because she survived? If you're struggling with that answer, the answer is no. Gretchen was very fortunate that she was not at her desk at 8:45, but it wasn't because God thought she was more successful or that she had more to learn. The world's definition might say, yeah, obviously she's more successful. She's had 18 years of earning money. Those people who died didn't. But God's view of success is, do you know me? It has nothing to do with how much you make. It has nothing to do with where you go to college. It has nothing to do with who knows you. It's, do you know me? In our search for Christ, in our search for God, we find him to be fulfilling all the promises that he makes to us in his word. He promises to be our protector. He promises to be our friend. He promises to be an ever-present counselor. And he promises, if we trust him, if we know him, he will be our Savior. I want to read, someone read from Philippians chapter 2. I want to read from Philippians chapter 3. This is Paul writing about what success is. Listen to what he says. He said, whatever gain I had, I counted as loss for the sake of Christ. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. For his sake, I have suffered the loss of all things. And listen to this. I've suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish. I count them as rubbish in order that I may gain Christ and be found in him. And he closes with this, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection. Paul's saying, you want to know what success is? It's finding a relationship with Christ. I want to ask the student, anyone can do this, but students, I just want to ask you to join me just for the next couple of minutes as we close this out. Put your hands up like this if you would. All right? Keep them up, and I want you to close. Don't make a big fist because you'll get tired. This is going to be one final exam before we go graduate, okay? I want you to make a fist in your left hand. All right? Now, everybody look and make sure they have their, some of you are wrong. There's the L. Remember kindergarten. Left hand, I want you to think of it this way. This has everything that the world says is successful. I'm going to give you 3 Ds to remember that, okay? Everything in here. First off is dreams fulfilled. All right? You dreamt you wanted to be a graduate. You've done that. That's a success. You dreamt you wanted to be a teacher. You dreamt you wanted to be a doctor. You dreamt all these things. You wanted to own a business. And you've done that. That's success. The second D is degrees earned. Some people believe the more letters you have after your name, the more successful you are. I had a college professor who had 3 earned doctorates. He was an amazing man, very humble, very brilliant, but you know, he could have probably taught in other college, in a normal big college and university, maybe 4 or 5 times the amount of money than he did in a private Christian school. But he never looked at his degrees as being something that matter to a success. So far it's dreams fulfilled, degrees earned, and the last one is dollars saved. Not just dollars that you make, but once you pay for your house, once you pay for your electricity, once you pay off your yacht, how much do you have left? All right, so you have the 3 Ds here. In your right hand, I want you to close it slowly as I give you 5 things that God calls success. First off, he wants us to have peace. Keep your left hand closed. Peace when you have trials. Guys, you know there's going to be trials in your life. Do you know that? There's going to be people, you're going to find out people have cancer. People die of heart disease. I know some of the graduates this year lost a grandfather because I knew the grandfather. There's going to be trials in your life, and you can have peace with a relationship with Christ. Secondly, I want you to close a little bit further, and this is an appreciation, appreciation and acceptance of myself. Understanding that God made me the way he made me. We don't compare ourselves. We shouldn't compare ourselves to other people. Left hand's still closed, right hand's closing. Acceptance of ourselves meaning God don't make no junk. He did not make a mistake when he made you. Some of you think that. I've had young people tell me that. Mr. Hagee, I have nothing. I have nothing to offer. There's nothing. I have no talents, no abilities, nothing. Look at me. Had a girl came up the other day. I asked her if she was going to prom. She goes, look at this face. Look at this face. And I said, you're not ugly. She goes, I am ugly. People tell me all the time. Acceptance of yourself. Along with that, third is a love for other people. You know, people who don't accept themselves have a hard time loving other people. We put them down, we judge them, and we put them in a corner, and we don't appreciate them. So, along with joy for yourself, and I want you to understand this one, is a joyful attitude. A joyful attitude rather than a complaining spirit. There's one more, so it's almost closed. This one's closed, okay? A joyful attitude rather than a complaining spirit. Last week I was down in middle school, last month I was down in middle school for Mr. Fitch, and I was out doing crossing guard with Jack Poyer. So I was standing out there, it was a beautiful day. It was a Thursday or Friday after Mother's Day. And it was a beautiful day. The junior hires were walking out. I said, oh, it's beautiful out there. Saying yes. Senior hires, I don't know if there's any of you, were walking down in front of me. I said, hey guys, hey Mr. Hagee. I said, beautiful out there. They said, no, it's too hot. I said, wait a minute. I said, 4 days ago was Mother's Day. It was 40 degrees. Did you complain about that? Well, yeah, it was too cold. Now it's 75 and it's too hot. Guys, we complain. And you know people who do that. They complain it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. I'm too fat, too skinny. I'm not smart enough. I'm too ugly. We complain about everything. God wants us to have a joyous heart. And then the final thing is you close that, both fists are closed, is a loving, eternal relationship with Jesus Christ in heaven. So I want you to look at both of those fists, all right? And I want you to be honest here. You don't have to tell me. But look at them both and say, now, which one am I going to choose? In the left hand, you have everything that the world offers, the 3 Ds, dreams, degrees, and dollars. In here, we have nothing from the right hand in this. But here's what Jesus offers you. Now, some of you can say, well, give me the dollars. Give me the degrees, and I'll find some happiness in that. I'll be content with that. You know, John D. Rockefeller was once the wealthiest man in the world. And he was asked, how much money is enough? The wealthiest man in the world, this is before Gates and all the guys today, this is like back in the 50s and 60s, I think. And Rockefeller was asked, how much money is enough? You know what his answer was? Always a little bit more. The wealthiest man in the world does not find contentment in having everything the world says is successful. Now I want you to open your hands and relax. Okay, keep them up though. And I want you to understand, this is God's definition of success right here. There's an old song that many churches sing. It's called Rock of Ages. And it says, Rock of Ages, cleft for me, let me hide myself in thee. But there's a verse in that song that says, nothing in my hands I bring, simply to the cross I cling. I want you to understand, that's what Paul is saying when the verse I read to you earlier, all this stuff that I had, all the stuff that the world offers, all the stuff that the world calls a success, I'm willing to let that go. I count that as rubbish in order that I may gain a relationship with Jesus Christ. Ladies and gentlemen, as you about to graduate, I want to congratulate you once again. And I want to challenge you to find all the success you can. And I trust that success finds you. But my prayer is that along the way you find success in God's eyes. God bless you guys.
I did do a PowerPoint, so we'll see. Here it comes, okay. Well, good evening. I just want to say thank you so much for having me come speak to you and with you this evening. My name is Brett Kennedy, but most of you probably know me as HK's dad. And though I have been invited here tonight as a pastor in the community, that's not how I'm going to address you this evening. You see, as HK's father, I feel a connection to you. I've been there as you've grown. And over the last 13 years, I feel kind of invested in your lives. So, though I'm not your parent, it feels kind of like I am. So tonight, I'm going to address you from the perspective of a parent sending his child into the world of adulthood. When they told me I had about 15 to 20 minutes, I thought, no problem, I can do that. But now as I look out over you, class of 2019, my mind is racing. How do I fit 13 years of memories into 15 minutes? For most of you, I was there that first day of kindergarten when all your parents were walking you in. You were so excited with your backpacks that were bigger than you. I was there as you started Ways soccer and Biddy basketball, T-ball, minor league, little league. I was there at your first grade graduation. I was there at your 4th grade awards ceremony. Then you hit middle school, and I was there for the first squeaky band concert, chorus concert, the middle school musicals. Of course, there was more basketball, more soccer, more football, more baseball. I was there at the 8th grade geography bee. I know I was there at the 8th grade field trip to New York City. I was there chaperoned the 8th grade end of the year pool party at Manga's house, where the only time boys and girls talked to one another was around the bonfire for Truth or Dare. Times have changed. As you entered high school, there were more concerts, more sports, more musicals. I watched you branch out in areas of your talent and develop them further. I watched you grow and mature, get licenses. I was really worried about some of you. Get jobs, start dating relationships. I was there when you got district chorus and district band. I was there to see NTL teams recognized for their athletic performance. I was there for district championships in football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and golf. I was along Main Street when the homecoming floats went through for your junior and senior proms, now baccalaureate, and in a few days, graduation. I've been there for all those moments and 1,000 more, cheering you on, celebrating with you, and the whole time beaming with pride. I've watched you grow and mature into the people sitting before me today. While I considered what I wanted to share with you tonight, the words of wisdom that I wanted to offer you as you start your journey into adulthood, my natural response was to address you as a parent. And so tonight I want to share with you 8 quotes to live by as you enter the strange, confusing, sometimes difficult, sometimes fun, often stressful, always a journey world of adulthood. A single act of kindness throws out roots in all directions, and the roots spring up and make new trees. That's a quote by Amelia Earhart, the first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Several years ago, I had a friend ask me to come help weed out their flower garden. As I showed up at their property, they had thousands of Japanese lanterns. If you don't know what Japanese lanterns are, they're little flowers that bloom and look like lanterns. What I found out when we were weeding is that those thousands of Japanese lanterns started with one bush, and they took over the whole flower garden. And so as we were weeding and pulling these lanterns out, every time you would pull, you would see the roots come up from the ground. You see, the Japanese lantern is an invasive species who quickly sets roots that spread out and cover the entire ground. We live in a world that is becoming so fast-paced by the hour that we often become lost in our own little bubble. We forget that there are people out in the world suffering, sometimes much more than we are. Take the time to be kind. That one act of kindness could be the start of roots that spread all over your college campus, military unit, or workplace, that spring up all forms of new kindness. Second quote, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Spoken by Thomas Edison. Class of 2019, work hard. Thomas Edison is described as America's greatest inventor, responsible for inventions such as electrical power generation, mass communication, sound recording, and motion picture. You don't get to be America's greatest inventor without working hard. Edison experimented over and over with his inventions to get them to work just right. It involved long hours, commitment, and hard work. You don't find success without working hard. Anything worth having is worth working for. Jobs, homes, relationships, faith, they all require work. Resist the temptation to think you're entitled to anything. Put on the overalls and do the hard work. There's a lot you'll learn in the process. Pray. Gandhi is quoted as saying, prayer is an old woman's idle amusement. Properly understood and applied, it is the most potent instrument of action. 25 years ago this week, I sat in this very room at my own baccalaureate, soon to be a graduate of 1994. I knew little of prayer other than asking a little help from above to pass my finals. 25 years later, I have discovered that an active prayer life changes everything. It takes no skill, no formula, no right or wrong. It's just an open conversation with God. Prayer is the most important conversation you will have every day. Share your trials. Share your victories, your worries, and your thankfulness. Philippians 4:6 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present yourself or your request to God. Try it, and you may find that someone's listening. Third quote, you must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you. Dave Ramsey was a millionaire real estate tycoon who lived high on the hog until he didn't. In a short amount of time, he lost everything and was completely bankrupt. From those experiences, he developed Financial Peace University, and since its inception has helped thousands of people manage money. My freshman year in college, as I was walking through the campus, I saw a booth giving away free t-shirts. The only catch was I had to sign up for a credit card. Now, mind you, I worked a minimal part-time job, but I got a card for a $1,000 limit. It didn't take long to reach it. And then I learned what interest was. Money isn't going away, guys. Some say that money runs the world. Learn to manage your money now while you don't have much, and you won't be sorry in the future when you do have it. Take a class, read a book on money management, create a budget. If you create that habit now, then in the future, the money will work for you instead of you working for the money. Manage money well. Take a risk. Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, in 2010, at the age of 26, was named Time Magazine's 100 wealthiest and most influential people in the world. And he said the biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking any risk. Mark didn't get there by taking the low road. It involved him taking some risks. I spent 14 years in the banking industry. I learned how to manage money. And when talking with the clients about investing in the stock market, frequently you would hear the phrase, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. At some point in your life, you will be challenged to take a risk. So consider the consequences of the risk you're going to take. Obtain wise advice, then make a decision. Don't look back and regret. Good or bad, live with the decision and learn from it. We live in an age of information overload where we can have all sorts of data at our fingertips. Information both for and against a decision we have to make. This can leave us stagnant and stationary. Taking risks in your life may be the best thing you ever did. Next quote. I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have to try to make a difference. Jimmy Carter, 39th President of the United States. Class of 2019, make a difference. Too often we become very egocentric in our day-to-day living. We look at the world with a here and now perspective. We only see what is happening to us here at this moment. But we are only just a blink in the history of the world. The things that we think are important to us today, the struggles we face in this moment, they are just flashes in time. 5 years from now, those things won't matter much. What we do in this life, though, the impact we have on people, that is what makes a difference to the world. You alone can't change the world, but you can change the world of one person. Make your presence in this world count for something. Just this week, I was in Gettysburg, touring the Gettysburg Military Park. And if you've ever been there, there are monuments everywhere. And each monument symbolizes a momentous action of a soldier, a general, someone in the battle. Let your deeds be your monuments. Make a difference. Hold fast to the Bible. To the influences of this book, we are indebted for all the progress made in true civilization. And to this we must look at as our guide in the future. Ulysses S. Grant, Civil War General and 18th President of the United States. As you begin this journey into adulthood, there are going to be a lot of twists and turns. There will be peaks and valleys. There will be smooth roads and roads littered with potholes. There will be times where you wish there was a map, and there is. The Bible is filled with practical wisdom for living life in this world. Even if you don't believe it, this is the map man was given to live this life. From developing healthy relationships to managing money to raising children, there is practical wisdom found in this book. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12 says, "Every part of Scripture is God-breathed and useful one way or another, showing us truth, exposing our rebellion, correcting our mistakes, training us to live God's way." I encourage you to read it. Go to it when you lack wisdom. I guarantee you that you will find answers. And if you read it with an open mind and a sincere heart, you will find a lot more than that. We've been given a guidebook, but just like every road trip, if you don't follow the map, you end up not knowing where you are. I want to close with one more quote. This quote comes from the guidebook. It's found in the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10, and is spoken by Jesus Christ. "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full." As you head out into the world, whether to college, the military, the workforce, you will find that there are a lot of things out there that will battle and vie for your attention. Some of those things aren't so good. And you may even feel like they are stealing your joy or slowly destroying your hopes and dreams. Jesus said that his purpose in coming to earth was that you might have life that is abundant and full. He is rooting for you to find that abundant life, and I'm praying that you will too. Congratulations, class of 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Hagee. I'd like to now invite up Taylor Kavanaugh for another personal reflection.
All right. So, following Mr. Kennedy is not going to be very easy, but here we are. Someone had to do it. All right. So, my name is Taylor Kavanaugh, obviously. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm clearly a graduating senior this year. It was kind of by the skin of my teeth, but that's besides the point. I didn't really know much about baccalaureate or anything, but Zach Bush is one of my best friends, and he asked me to come speak to you guys today. If you can tell, I'm a little nervous, but that's fine. So I'm talking about a personal experience, and really there was not one big one, but it was like a lot of little ones from teachers, specifically Miss Hoover, Mr. Brill, and Miss Moore. They all shaped me into the person that I was going to be and helped me emotionally grow because I had a hard time in high school. Yeah, I had more, but I'm sorry, I choked. Can Kayla come to stage to talk, please?
Good evening. I would like to start off by welcoming family members, loved ones, teachers, and staff, and of course the class of 2019. At the beginning of this school year, the class of 2019 welcomed me. The first couple of days were difficult, seeing where I fit in, but now here we are. I have made so many friends and formed relationships with them that are stronger than I could have ever imagined. I would personally like to thank the class of 2019 for being so welcoming and supportive this past year. I truly could not have done it without each and every one of you. All of you have played a key role in the person I am today, just like our teachers have. I would like to now thank our teachers for all that they have put up with the past year, but I may be slightly biased since I wish to be in their footsteps in about 4 years. So instead, I reached out to the whole class for personal statements, allowing them to thank our faculty members from the school. Here are just a few of the responses. Mr. Getty and Mrs. Purdy. If it wasn't for both of them, I wouldn't be where I am today. They pushed me, and when I wanted to give up, they just helped me with what I need. They always told me to keep positive. Mrs. Button. She has been one of my favorite teachers ever. She has been so helpful, not only with math issues, but also with letters of recommendation and just personal struggles. It has been absolutely wonderful having her as a teacher the past 2 years. Mrs. Getty. She gives the school and students everything she can. She keeps the school a fun environment and allows the senior class to always win the alma mater contest. Mrs. K. She has been my second mom while I have been in high school. She has kept me in track, and she will definitely be a forever friend. Mrs. Hoover. Despite all the complaining, she has really prepared me and everyone else for college writing. She is very understanding and has a great sense of humor. Miss Bear. She was always very encouraging and never ceased to make me smile. I wish I could continue to read all of the responses to show how truly every one of us is proud and thankful for all of our teachers, but there is simply not enough time. There is one last final person I know we would all like to thank. She is our school mom. She deals with us, many of us, being late to school, and many say she simply keeps the whole school running. She is Mrs. Bradley. She makes the effort to know each individual personally and works hard while going out of her way for others. We truly all appreciate you and will miss you dearly. Now back to the class of 2019. Hold your friends and thank them. Keep in touch with them, a simple hello whenever in passing. Thank your loved ones, know that they got you here today and have shaped you into the person you are today. Thanks, Mom, Dad, and Tay. I love you all. At the graduate you are today, even though we may be graduating, I have a challenge for you. One last piece of homework. Something I challenged myself to do on the first day of our senior year. I want each of you to go to a particular spot around the school, whether it's right here on this stage for all of your concerts, or on the basketball court, on the track, at the 50-yard line on the football field, on the softball field, in the band room, down at the job site, or simply at the top of the stairs in the commons. I just want you to stand there for a few minutes and reflect. Think about your last 4 years, everything that has led you up to where you are today, right now in this moment. Because it's happening. Our future is now knocking at the door. I hope that you run to that door with your dreams ahead of you and don't stop running until you catch up with them. Because class of 2019, we did it. You did it. Congratulations, class of 2019. I would now like to invite up Zoe Azari for a personal reflection.
Ladies and gentlemen, faculty, friends, and my fellow classmates of the class of 2019, before I begin, I would like to thank each and every one of you for the love and support you have given each other. None of us would be graduating if we had not been there for one another. Thank you to the parents for being a strong support system for the students. Thank you to all the friends and peers for challenging us each and every day. Thank you to the faculty for believing in us every step of the way. And finally, thank you to the class of 2019 for helping me to create a collection of memories over the past 13 years that I will remember and cherish forever. I spent many hours trying to determine what the perfect thing to say would be that would be life-changing, eloquent, and sentimental all in one. But as I wrote, I realized that everything that I have loved about my time in Wellsboro, all of the memories I have made, were perfectly imperfect moments, which is what made them so memorable. To my fellow classmates, The past 13 years have been a roller coaster of emotions. We have all loved and lost, but nevertheless, at the end of every day, we have persisted. We struggled through the anxiety-provoking minute math worksheets in elementary school, to having to know where all of the European countries were located in Mr. Morris's geography class in middle school. We made it through pacers and beep tests, keystones, AP tests, and hours of juggling school, work, and the abundance of extracurricular activities that so many of us partake in. Along the way, we have lost many loved ones who would have been so proud of the people we have become today, and whose energy still surrounds each and every one of us in everything we do. With every low point we have encountered over the years, we have always been able to keep moving forward and have accomplished many great feats. We have won district and league championships, learned to write a song about almost anything, especially chemistry, attended PMEA festivals, hosted and attended student council and FFA conferences, and have made countless friends from all over the country along the way. The one common theme through it all is that we have done it together. We took every win and every loss in stride and made it through with one another. And as I reflect on my time in Wellsboro, I have realized that it is the people that I am going to miss most of all. For much of my life, Wellsboro has been less of a home and more like the place where I live. I lived here, but I was never really living. I was just being, going through the motions and waiting for the day when I would leave and never return. This, however, is no longer the case. I've learned that it's a lot more fun to live than simply be. Through doing so, I have grown an appreciation for this quaint little town that I have grown to love. I value how hard all of you have worked to change the world, and all of the dreams you have for us. I value the growing sense of acceptance that this town has not always known. I value the love some of you have for our town, and all you want to do to make it a better place. Most of all, I appreciate the values you are all trying to instill in each other and the town of being kind to one another, never giving up, working hard, and remembering those who have helped us reach where we are today. As I embark on the next step of my arduous journey, I am filled with a deep sense of excitement and sadness. I'm excited to see where life takes us all, yet I am sad that this next journey, we will all be taking different paths. This school has become a second home to me, as I have made some of the closest friendships within its walls, through countless hours spent in the band room and this very auditorium, to all of the time spent on the track and in the fields. It may sound disingenuous to say that I will miss each and every one of you, but you have all in some way shaped me into the person that I am today, and for that I am forever grateful. As I reflect on my past, I hope the following for my future. I hope that music continues to make its way into my life, because the arts have impacted me in more ways than I may ever know. And I probably really would not be up here if it was not for the confidence I've gained through performing. I hope that no person that I ever encounter ever feels alone. Life is wild, and as we continue our journeys on different paths, I know that we may find ourselves in times of trouble, where we need a helping hand, and I want every person to know that I am there for them. I hope to one day hear an album with some of Mrs. Getty's greatest hits. I hope that I can continue to eat ice cream from the Main Street Creamery for years to come. I hope that I will be the person that each one of you wants to vote for President of the United States in 2040. Most importantly, I hope that each one of you reach and exceed your wildest dreams. Thanks for the memories, protect your dreams, and live your life to the fullest. A world of possibility awaits. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Ariana Carlton. I appreciate you.
So firstly, whoever thought it'd be a good idea to let me talk into a microphone in front of a bunch of people, that was a horrible idea, because odds are I'm not going to look at this anymore and I'm just going to start making stuff up. Also, if you're wondering who Mr. Hagee was talking to, the day he was in for Mr. Sensitive, it was me. Okay. Anyway, So yeah, this is so surreal. I've known some of you since we went to Trinity Lutheran, and we were like 3 years old, so that's the majority of our life. It's simply amazing to see how far we've come since then. Over the years, we've traded silly bands in the Charlotte parking lot, and we wore so many that our fingers turned purple. We sold Apple devices for ridiculous prices because they had Flappy Bird installed. We survived blackouts, a ton of water boil advisories, and a 10-page research paper. Most of our changes were for the good, like when the guys decided that Justin Bieber haircuts weren't that cool anymore. Also, that Axe body spray isn't a replacement for a shower. Although some people are still trying to figure out that last one. I'm so proud to have watched all of you grow and to do the same along with you. So, although lots of things have changed, one thing that's remained pretty constant is I just don't like raisins. Before you call me out for being super random, this is going somewhere, I swear. In 8th grade, I was sitting in Mr. Long's algebra class, messing around with Tanner, because we talked that whole class. Someone brought out a bag of trail mix, and in continuation of my tendency to just blurt things out once I say them, or once I think them, I said, trail mix is just M&Ms with obstacles. Mr. Long thought that was hilarious, and he still tells a bunch of people about it. But it got me thinking, how many times in life do we just think about the raisins and overlook the M&Ms? Yeah, somehow we just overlook the good things because we're so focused on the negativities. I'm definitely guilty about this, but then as I entered my senior year, I realized that now I had a shortage of time here, and constantly dwelling on lies that I was believing about myself was a shameful waste of it. So while still struggling to overcome this issue, I decided that I would spend every moment of my last year being very intentional with my time. I obviously didn't do it perfectly. I mean, I wouldn't be a true member of the class of 2019 if I didn't procrastinate a little bit. For example, I printed this out this morning and Mrs. Bradley brought it over right before this started. That woman has done so much for me. I can't count how many times she's opened my locker because I forgot my locker key at my house. I pushed off joining the band until the second semester of my junior year, and anyone who knows me knows I really like band, and I talk about it all the time. So I had to condense 6 years of memories and practicing into 1.5, and honestly, I think I did pretty good. Musician and philosopher D.S. Sensenig always says that time remembered is not time wasted. Of course, when he said that to me, he was kind of reprimanding me for not practicing that section of Amparita Roca on my trombone. But I think it's super applicable elsewhere also. So AP kids, remember that night? We were all up really late trying to finish our research papers, but instead of just getting it done, we were sending random pictures to each other. Maybe that wasn't wasted? I'm kidding. But our class has definitely had some awesome memories, like those huge summer pond parties at Rachel's house, or Brett Rudy riding a tricycle through the 8th grade hallway. So if what Mr. S says is true, then we definitely spent our time well. Before I go, this would not be a speech if I didn't thank a few people. So thank you to Miss Niver, Mrs. Getty, Mrs. Harmon, and Mr. Sensitive for letting me into the school after hours because I forgot something. And Mrs. Button for making the best chocolate chip cookies ever. And yeah, just all the faculty and staff for helping me when I was slacking because I forget stuff. And thank you to my class for being super awesome buddies. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, as we all go our separate ways and change our own part of the world, I hope you guys take in every second and put more M&Ms in your trail mix. We will now have a slideshow presentation from Luna Alexander.
All I'm gonna say is that just like all year long, all these seniors procrastinated getting me pictures. So I hope you enjoy this PowerPoint presentation that was put together. Time wisely. me restart this so you can enjoy it in all its ability. So as you can see, I am not technology inclined. That's all right, we're getting there. You guys having a good night? I'm sure having a good night. Oh, my face is up on the screen. What a guy he is. Look at this. Well, there she goes. Oh, do we have it? That's good. Oh no. Put me on the spot like middle school assemblies, come on. Okay, my favorite joke that has always stuck with me. If you insist. Rain hates this one. Okay. You know, one snowman was snowing down the street, you know what I mean? He looked at the other snowman and says, "Do you smell that? What is that?" The other snowman says, "Is it carrots?" Because they have carrot noses. Okay? That was totally a Mr. Marple joke. Thanks for showing me. What an evening we have before us. Oh, there she goes. Look at Tayton, he's so cheesy. Look at him. You see Bergen with his glasses? What about Cambry down in the front? She's just definitely asking what's happening. Oh, okay. you for dealing with technical difficulties. And I shall call up, who do I want to choose? I'm just kidding. Musical selection by the Dickens Choir, an Irish Blessing by Kevin Boat.
I'm Harmony Benner, and I'll be giving the benediction. Now may the Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and gave us eternal comfort through grace, comfort our hearts and establish them in every good work and word. Thank you for coming tonight, and please wait to leave until the graduates have proceeded.